So in today's session, we will be looking at 24 evolutes of Prakriti or the tattvas of Prakriti. In the last session, we looked into what is the two main principles of Sankhya Yoga, that is Purusha and Prakriti. So in this session, we'll be looking at um, the further principles of Prakriti and then the next 6 Jnana Yoga shlokas, and we'll do practice. So why we need to know the evolutes of Prakriti? Understanding two basic principles of Sankhya, Purusha and Prakriti, is very useful in the practice of yoga. To be able to discriminate between what is real and what is unreal. So if we understand all the tattvas of Prakriti, we can use our viveka or the discriminative power to always analyze what is real, what is unreal, to be able to reverse the process of manifestation, the process of evolution, and withdraw our consciousness or awareness from the evolutes back to its source, that is the Purusha. To be able to work on the interplay of gunas, that is sattva, rajas, tamas, during the practice of meditation, and to be able to maintain the self-awareness without chitta vrittis, all the modifications of the mind, fluctuations of the mind, and to be able to experience true nature or the self-realization, which is the ultimate aim of yoga or the spirituality. Okay, so let's see what is the process of evolution and involution. So in the universe, all the grosser objects emerge from the subtler ones. Like from the object has come. If you look into the subtle aspect, it is the compounds. The more subtler aspect is the molecules, atoms, particles, and the subtler substratum. In the physics or the modern science, we look at everything in this way. Let's take the example of gold ornaments. So when we say the earrings or necklace or ring or bangle, anklet, these are the various forms taken up by one principle, that is gold. Or the clay pots. You can make so many things out of clay, like the pots, vases, many things. But are they real? What is the uh, subtle substratum or the principle behind all these forms and names is the clay in context of gold ornaments or clay pots. Similarly, human beings are multi-leveled, multi-layered. How to realize what layer is true or real and what is not? So yoga provides practical methods to systematically uncover many false identities taken on by Purusha with Prakriti. So in this session, we are going to look at those identities which we take up and we feel we are this body, we are this mind, we are this intellect, we are these senses. These are all the false identities taken up by our soul, Atman, Purusha with Prakriti. So let's look into these 25 tattvas, including the Purusha. The Sankhya Yoga talks about Purusha and Prakriti. So Purusha, as we have seen, it is the attribute-less, formless, uh, the purest consciousness. Hmm? It is eternal, it is anadi, it is ananta, it is not, it is limitless, it is sarvadnya, it is omniscient, omnipresent. So it is all pervading, the highest universal intelligence, as we call it as Purusha. That is the one principle. And the second principle is Mula Prakriti, which is still avyakta, that is unmanifest. At that stage, all the three gunas, that is sattva, rajas and tamas, they are at perfect balance state, and hence prakriti has not yet manifested. It hasn't yet became vyakta. It is avyakta. Once purusha and prakriti come closer in proximity with each other, as in the last session we have seen the example of a blind and a lame person. A blind man cannot see the path to go. So he sits on the lame person who can show the path, but the lame person cannot walk. So the lame person sits on the shoulder of the blind person, and the lame person shows him the path, and the blind person walks. So similarly, purusha and prakriti come in proximity for something. So that is for the creation, that is for the manifestation. Once this balanced state of trigunas get imbalanced, get disturbed, the first manifestation of prakriti is the mahat. So mahat is the universal intellect, we can call it as. It is the purest, finest individualization of prakriti without any characterization. So yet it has not identified with anything. It is just the individualization, yet it is in a pure form. So that is the universal aspect is called as mahat. When it comes to the individual intellect or buddhi, it is called as buddhi. Okay. Then the next manifestation of prakriti is the ahankara, the self identity. It is that consciousness start to take on false identities. We can say that ego or the ahankara is the capacity to take on countless identities. That is, I am a doctor, or I am rich, I am poor, I am healthy, I am fit, I am thin, I am fat, whatever it is, whatever identities, those countless identities, we uh, take it because of that capacity of ego. From ego, give rise to sattva, rajas, tamas, that is the three gunas. So Prakriti has got three attributes, while Purusha is attributeless. So Sattva is the quality of lightness. Rajas is the passion, desire, activity. Tamas is the dullness or stability. So always these three gunas interplay, combine and recombine to form various aspects of mind, senses, and five elements. That is the Pancha Mahabhutas. Now from there, from Ahankara, from Gunas, the next Tattva is the mind, Manas. It is instrument or the driving force behind all our actions, behind our speech, behind our thought process. It is also the recipient of sensory input. That is the part of Manas. The next evolute are the five sense organs and the five organs of actions. That is Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas. So what are the five sense organs, Jnanendriyas? That is Chakshu, Shrotra, Ghrana, Tvaka and Rasana. That is our eyes, ears, nose, skin, and tongue. The five sense organs through which we are constantly taking information from the external world. Mind receives it, and accordingly we act, speak, or think. Then the five organs of action, that is Karmendra, Pani, Pada, Vaka, Payu, and Upastha. That is our hands, feet, speech. So here the tongue and the speech, it is common in both. The tongue is the organ for tasting, and tongue is the organ of speech. Then elimination, the organs of excretion, and the organs of procreation or the reproduction, that is upastha. So these all organs are called as karmendriyas. With the help of karmendriyas, we do all the actions. So we also can say that these evolutes of Prakriti are like Jnanendriyas are the five entrance doors to the Purusha, and uh, five organs of action, that is Karmendriyas, are the exit doors of the Purusha. Then it further manifests as Tanmatras, the subtle sense perception, that is Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, and Gandha, that is sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Now, when these five elements, now which are these five elements? That is the further attributes or the principles, that is the Mahabhutas, Pancha Mahabhutas. They are Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, and Prithvi. That is space, air, fire, water, and earth. So when these five elements are in their subtle form, they are called as Tanmatras, that is sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. When Tanmatras manifest in the physical world, they are known as Mahabhutas or the Bhutas. And from these, many objects of the external world are complete. Even our body is composed of what? Pancha Mahabhutas. You tell any object from this universe, it is made up of either of these Panchamahabhutas. So these are the 24 tattvas or the evolutes of Prakriti. Constantly our ego or ahankara or asmita gets misidentified with all the evolutes of Prakriti, and hence we are in the deepest level of Maya or ignorance or avidya. So what is the role of Raja Yoga or the meditation or Hatha Yoga or Karma Yoga? All the paths of yoga help you to overcome the ignorance. Tell yourself again and again, I am not mind, I am not sense organs, I am not karmendriyas or the organs of actions, I am not tanmatras, I am not panchamahabhutas, I am not intellect. Who I am. So this is the whole journey of yoga, to go back. So the process of involution starts to go back to your own source, that is Purusha. Have that constant thought within that I am the pure consciousness. I am attributeless. I am eternal. Only my body is dead. I cannot be dead. So this is the part of Jnana Yoga, to do constant contemplation, repetition uh, on these principles of Sankhya. So Sankhya gives us the philosophy, is the foundation, it is the basis on which we practice with the help of various techniques of yoga, and hence Sankhya and yoga go hand in hand, parallel. So till this point, is everything clear, or are there any questions? Shall we go ahead with the shlokas? Are you all there with me?
Yes, of
Yes,
course.
thank you, Ketki.
Okay. All right. Great. So shall we move ahead?
Yes, I'd say so. That no one seems to have any
Okay.
questions.
Okay. So now we'll look into shloka 7. Achedyo yamadayoyam akledyo shosha evacha nityah sarvagatasthānuhu achaloyam sanatanaha. So this shloka is saying the soul, the Purusha, is unbreakable and incombustible. It can neither be dampened nor dried. It is everlasting in all places, unalterable, immutable, and primordial. Shri Krishna has often used punarukti, that is the repetition, as a tool in the Bhagavad Gita for stressing the important spiritual principles to ensure that they are grasped deeply by his student. Because we forget, again, the force of avidya takes over. We go back into asmita, we go back into avidya. So Shri Krishna is emphasizing, repeating it again and again. In the last session, we saw the shloka Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, that it can't be cut or wet or all these things. So similarly, he is repeating again through this shloka that soul is eternal. You cannot uh, burn it or wet it, or nothing can be done to the that highest principle of Purusha. त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्. The Vedas deal with the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, rise above the three modes to a state of pure spiritual consciousness, freeing yourself from dualities, eternally fixed in truth, and without concern for material gain and safety, be situated in the self. So let's look into a little more explanation about this shloka. These three modes of material nature are what? That is the three gunas. Mode of goodness, sattva, the mental clarity, lightness. Rajas, the mode of passion, activity, desire. And mode of ignorance, tamas, dullness or darkness. The relative proportion of the three modes varies for every individual. Why? Due to their samskaras, tendencies from countless past lives, and accordingly, everyone has different inclinations and tendencies, or the personality traits. The Vedas accept this disparity and give suitable instructions for all kinds of people. See, we are the combination of everything. We cannot say that I am very Rajasic and I will only follow the path of Karma Yoga. We need to practice everything from all the paths, that is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Raja Yoga. Because we have got tendencies from all of these, only the proportions are different in every individual. If the Shastras did not contain instructions for worldly minded people, they would have gone further astray or further in the ignorance. So the Vedas offer them material rewards for the performance of various rituals, helping them rise from the mode of ignorance to passion, that is from tamas to rajas, and from passion to goodness, that is from rajas to sattva. So our aim is to dominate sattva in our personality than rajas and tamas all the time. And finally, the aim is to become gunatita. Even sattva is binding. So even you have to get rid of sattva guna. The Vedas contain both kinds of knowledge. Ritualistic ceremonies for the materially attached, that is the karma kanda, and the divine knowledge for spiritual aspirants, that is the jnana kanda. Shri Krishna is implying that we should not be attracted by the section of the Vedas that propound ceremonies for material rewards. Instead, yes, you can start your journey sadhana by doing different rituals and karma kandas, but don't stop there. Instead, we should use the divine section, Jnana Kanda of the Vedic knowledge, to elevate ourselves to the level of absolute truth. So this is the entire meaning of this shloka. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamanogatan Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha Thita Prajnastadochyate. Shri Krishna is saying, O Partha, when one discards all selfish desires, sakama karma, and cravings of the senses that torment the mind again and again, and becomes satisfied in the realization of the self, such a person is said to be transcendentally situated. That is sthita prajna. This word, we'll look into its explanation, same shloka. This word has been called Mruga in the scriptures, in the Shastras, meaning like the mirage seen by the deer. The sun rays reflecting on the hot desert sand create an illusion of water for it thinks there is water ahead of it and runs to quench its thirst. But the more it runs towards the water, the more the mirage fades away. Its dull intellect cannot recognize that it is running after an illusion. We can say the ignorance is making him run after that mirage. The unfortunate deer keeps chasing the illusory water and dies of exhaustion on the desert sand. Similarly, the material energy Maya too creates an illusion of happiness. We feel there is happiness in the material object, and we run after that illusory happiness in the hope of quenching our thirst, our desires, and the thirst of our senses. But no matter how much we try, happiness keeps fading further away from us. But then who knows that yogi who is established his intellect, his mind into the absolute truth? The sthita prajna is free from all this illusion. Now, this is, I think, the most important shlokas, the two shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. How a person can degrade himself because of his own desires and attachments. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायत सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So while contemplating on the objects of senses, what an ignorant person does, he contemplates on the object of senses. And a sthita prajna, a yogi, contemplates on only the principle of absolute truth. Because we contemplate on the objects of senses, one develops attachment to them. See, attachment is getting attracted again and again to those objects, to those people, to those situations who are giving you pleasure, happiness. That is raga, attachment, strong likes, strong attachments. These attachment leads to desire that I want it more, I want it more. And from desire arises anger. Now, if I don't get the object of my pleasure, the result is I'm getting angry, I'm getting frustrated, I'm getting disappointed. Then that anger leads to clouding of judgment. which results in bewilderment of the memory. The memory gets again into the illusion. When the memory is bewildered, the intellect gets destroyed. Our viveka, our discrimination or the discriminative power. And when the intellect is destroyed, one is completely ruined, degraded, destroyed. The anger is the greatest enemy of a person. It has the frightening ability to destroy the mental, physical, social, and even financial life of a person. When anger overpowers on the mind, a person loses the ability to think and to see the situation with the eye of the intelligence, viveka. A person can lose his job, contract, love. Can you please mute your call? Friends, or respect as the after effect of the anger. People tend to have too many desires. They expect from others and from themselves. Too much of desires and expectations are impossible to be fulfilled. If you think, you can also realize that most of the time you got angry is the manifestation from the frustrated attempts of achieving your desires. The frustrated mind gave birth to the anger, and anger starts all the problem in life. So this is how you should be mindful of every uh, process through which you are going. If look at your desires, how strong are they? At what length you need to fulfill them? If they are not getting fulfilled, is it disturbing the peace of your mind? Okay, so you should be mindful of the entire process. So this is the repetition. Okay, the next shloka. Ragadvesha viyuktaistu Vishayanindriyaishcharan Atmavashairvidheyatma Prasadamadigaccati. But one who controls the mind and is free from attachment and aversion, raga and dvesha, even while using the objects of senses, attains the grace of God. See, the yogi or the siddhas or the saints or these santas, they are mid of all this materialistic world. They are using it, but still they use their viveka to remain not getting attached or not getting due to these uh, objects of desire, or they are not further going in the downward direction. They know where to keep themselves unaffected all the time. So attachment and aversion are two sides of the same coin. Aversion is nothing but the negative attachment. So if you hate someone, even you keep thinking of that object or person all the time. So it is negative attachment. Just as in attachment, the object of attachment repeatedly comes to one's mind. Similarly, in aversion, the object of hatred keeps popping up into the mind. So attachment and aversion to material objects both have the same effect on the mind. It destroys the peace of your mind. Impure mind get pulled into the three modes of material nature, and that distracted impure mind is, becomes prey to the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. So if tamas dominates, you really feel depressed, low. If rajas dominates, you become angry, you react. So you just get trapped into that again, interplay of gunas. So whenever Shri Krishna asks us to give up attachment and desire, he is referring only to material attachment and desire. Spiritual attachment and desire, initially it helps you, are not to be given up. In fact, they are most praiseworthy. They are to be cultivated and increased for the purification of mind and heart. The greater the burning desire we develop for God, the purer our mind will become. Means the sattva guna will dominate. On experiencing that higher taste, the mind no longer feels attracted to the sense objects, even while using them. Thus, even while tasting, touching, smelling, hearing, and seeing, like all of us, the Sthita Prajna, the yogi, is free from both attachment and aversion. And the last shloka. Dukkeshvanudvignamanaha Sukeshu vigatasspruhah Vitaragabhayakrodhah Hitadhirmuniruchyate. One whose mind remains undisturbed amidst misery, in mid of misery, who does not crave for pleasure and who is free from attachment, fear, anger, is called a sage of steady wisdom. So Shri Krishna describes sages of steady wisdom as three: Vita Raga, Vita Bhaya, Vita Krodha. So those who have given up craving for pleasure, they remain free from fear, abhinivesha, and they are devoid of anger. They are the sages of steady wisdom. An enlightened person does not allow the mind to harbor the material priorities of lust, anger, greed, envy, etc. That is the Shadripus, the six enemies of the mind. That is Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsar. Only then can the mind steadily contemplate on the transcendence and be fixed in the divine. So you need to do a lot of work. You need to overcome the Shatripus, the six enemies of mind. You need to overcome the five kleshas, the sufferings, uh, the mula swabhav of our own self. That is avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesha. If one permits the mind to brood over miseries, then the contemplation on the divine ceases and the mind is dragged down from the transcendental level. More than the present pain itself, it is the memories of the past pain and apprehensions of future pain that torment the mind. So either our mind goes in the past or goes in the future. It hardly remains in the present moment. And that, destroys the peace of your mind more than the present pain. But when the mind drops these two, what the past pain and the future pain, and has to simply fix in the present sensation, the pain surprisingly shrinks to a manageable size. All right. So this is what Shri Krishna is talking about. That person has conquered Raga, Dvesha, and fear, Abhinivesha. All right. So any questions? Are all the meanings of the shlokas clear? So shall we do group practice?
Yes.
You can repeat after me. You can unmute your calls. Achedyo yamadahyoyam
Achedyo yam adayo yam
अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च
अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च
नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणु अचलोऽयं सनातनः त्रैगुण्यविषया वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान् श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधाद् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादमधिगच्छति दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधिर्मुनिरुच्यते Excellent. Anyone wants to do individual practice, or do you want to repeat one more time?
Repeat one more time.
Okay. अच्छेद्यो यमदाह्योऽयम्
अच्छेद्यो
अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः Anyone wants to try individually for this shloka?
Yeah, I will try.
Please tell me your name.
Mugdha.
Okay. So please repeat after me. अच्छेद्यो यमदाह्योऽयम्
अच्छेद्योऽयमदाह्योऽयम्
अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च
अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च
नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः
नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः
अचलोऽयं सनातनः
अचलोऽयं सनातनः.
Excellent. Anyone else? All right. Now please repeat after me. त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदा
त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदा
निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन
निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन
निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो
निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो
निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्
निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्.
Anyone wants to do individually?
I'll go, KP.
Okay. त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदा
Traigunya Vishaya Veda
निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन
Nistraigunyo bhavarjuna.
निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो
Nirdvandvo nityasattvasto.
निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्
Niryoga kshema atmavan.
Excellent. श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
प्रजहाति यदा कामान्
प्रजहाति
प्रजहाति
यदा
यदा
कामान्
कामान्
सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान्
सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान्
आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः
आत्मन्येवात्मनातुष्टः
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
Anyone wants to chant?
I'll go for it, Ketki.
Okay. श्रीभगवानुवाच
श्रीभगवानुवाच
प्रजहाति यदा कामान्
प्रजहाति यदा कामान्
सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान्
सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान्
आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः
आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टतः
तुष्टः
तुष्टः
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते
वेरी गुड ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः
ध्यायतो विषयान्
Saha
सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते
सङ्गस्तेषु
Samgayate.
सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः
सङ्गात्
Samgayate kama.
कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते
कामात् क्रोधो विजायते
क्रोधाद् भवति सम्मोहः
क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः
सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः
सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः
स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो
स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो
बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति
बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति
Anyone wants to chant this?
Shall I do, Ketki?
Yes. Do you want to just chant or?
Yeah, I will chant.
Yeah. Okay.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति.
Very good. Only you have to take care of that second word. Dhayato vishayan pumsah.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः.
Pum. So the sound of Anuswara is pum. Pumsah.
Yeah.
Yeah. रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु
रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु
विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन्
विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन्
आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा
आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा
प्रसादमधिगच्छति Who wants to do this?
I'll do that one, Keiki. I'll just go for it.
Okay, yeah.
Raga dvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyaishcharan atma vaishya vidye atma prasadam adhikachati.
Yeah. Because the English transliteration are separate, while chanting, you can combine these words. So, prasadamadi gacchati or atmair, atmavashair vidheyatma. Vidheya atma, vidheyatma.
Vidhyatma.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. All right, the last one. Dukheshvanudvignamanaha.
दुःखेषु
Sukeshu vigatasspruhah.
सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः
वीतरागभयक्रोधः.
वीतरागभयक्रोधः
स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते.
स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते.
So who is doing the last one?
सुखेषु अन्दिग्धमनः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वितराग
Okay, Subhadra ma'am, because the V is dirgha, elongate that
Let me
pronunciation.
try from the beginning.
No, the first line
Can you
is
repeat?
correct.
Correct.
Vitaragabhayakrodha.
Wait. Second line, please repeat, please. Second.
Vitaragabhayakrodha.
वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Any questions? No questions? All right.
I think it's just a matter of
So-
practicing now, Katie. Practice,
Yeah.
practice, practice.
Yes, you can practice these shlokas and put your recordings on the group. And we'll see you then next month with our last session on Jnana Yoga. Probably after the end of Jnana Yoga, I'm thinking of starting with Vibhuti Yoga. So let's see how it goes. So I will put the details about it on the group. Okay.
Thank you
you.
so much, Katie.
Yeah.
Will you
Thank
put
you.
the
Thank you.
recording in the link to the recording also later?
Yeah, the session recording I will share, and also all the shloka recordings afterwards.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye.